So when I was a seminarian at a program called CPE, Clinical Pastoral Education, I was assigned as a chaplain to a hospital. And the hospital was all the way in Clearwater, Morton Plant Hospital. As I was making my rounds throughout the floors, I went to the emergency room to see the patients that were just coming in, who were just being admitted. There, I met this lady who was at first very afraid of me, and she knew that I was a chaplain, given that the color chaplains wear in Clearwater Hospital is purple. And she immediately thought that I was going to give her more bad news. She told me that she had stage 4 cancer. And so she didn't want to talk much in the beginning. But when she knew that all I wanted to do was to just be with her, to listen to her, and to pray with her, she was more at peace. She was calmer. But to be honest, what could I have said? What could I have said to a woman who could potentially see her death in just a couple weeks or a couple months, or maybe, God willing, a couple years? What could I have said? And so the majority of the time, because you can't really say anything in these types of situations, the majority of time is that you listen. I listened to her story, and cried with her. But the moments that the Holy Spirit came and inspired me to kind of speak into her pain, into her sorrow, was that God is still with you. He hasn't abandoned you, and that He will never leave you. Those words are not just for her, but for all of us, because as children of God, we forget. We forget who we are because of the things we deal with in life, these circumstances. And so we forget that God actually dwells within us. And so that's why in today's gospel, in John 14, Jesus gives His disciples a promise right before His passion. He says, "Whoever loves me will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our dwelling with him." So if you think about it, God the Father and Jesus the Son want to dwell, desires to dwell in your hearts. And that word dwell means to live, to remain, to take up residence. It's not something that's just temporary. It's not a visit. It's a home, because you are God's home. You can be even considered a small tabernacle that carries Jesus Christ everywhere you go. And so then Jesus tells them something they didn't understand at the time, which was that He's leaving. He's going to ascend to the Father so that the Holy Spirit can come and be with everyone, not just those physically near Him in Galilee or Jerusalem, but with the church here at St. Anastasia, with the church at St. Mark's, St. Helens. He's not limited anymore, which is why it was necessary to ascend to the Father. It's not like we didn't want Jesus Christ anymore. It's that it was necessary so that He can be with each and every one of us and not be limited in His human capacity anymore. So He was preparing them, the apostles, to accept this truth. But He's also prepared us, or is preparing us, that we have God inside of us. What a hopeful and convicting message that is. Because that shows where our human dignity stems from. Because God dwells in the human person. So remember who you are. You're not just a parent. You're not just a grandparent or a child or a retiree. You are a dwelling place for the Lord. And because of that, you are never alone. And the peace that Jesus promises in this gospel is not like this world's peace. It's not based on circumstances. It's based on who is within you, who's within your heart. You're carrying the presence of the creator of the universe inside of you, the presence of the Trinity inside your heart. But here's the danger. When we forget that God dwells within us, we begin to act like He's not there. We talk like He's not there. We make choices like He's not there. And so then we grow cold in prayer or lazy in charity because we've forgotten who we are. You are a child of God, and God dwells within you, which is why it's such a perfect homework to after this go watch the movie The Lion King, right? You remember the scene with Mufasa and Simba, and then and Simba was so lost in his world, didn't know what his identity was anymore, and then he finally speaks to his father, and then it's like Mufasa says to Simba, you've forgotten who you are, so you have forgotten me. You have become more than what you are, or you are more than what you have become. You are a child of God, and God dwells within you, so never forget that. And now I know that summer is coming up. The school year's basically over. Vacations are being planned or are planned. And so family visits are around the corner. And summer is a gift. It's a gift, a time to breathe, to rest, to slow down from just the normal busyness of life. But here's a spiritual warning. Don't take a vacation from God. Because we all need rest from work, definitely, but not from Mass. We all need break from school, but not from prayer. Because even if you're not at St. Anastasia throughout the whole summer, you're still a temple of the Holy Spirit. And so remember who you are, especially when it's easy to forget. So whether you're at the beach, on the cruise, going to Disney, or just at home relaxing, never forget who you are and the demands of love that God makes of us. So whatever friends that we know that is not coming to Mass with us, because they're either at the cove relaxing and chilling, or at some sports event because they want their kids to go pro, invite them to come back. Be the keeper of your brothers and sisters and say to them, remember who you are. You are a child of God, and the Father, not this Father, this Father, but the Father wants to see you again. Our church is going to continue to do things this summer. It's not like we're going away. It's not like a hard stop. We don't take a break. Father George doesn't take a break. God's love doesn't take a break. So neither should ours. And so let me leave you with the practical tips, right, to stay connected to God this summer. Continue to attend Mass, right? That's the obligation of Sunday, making the Lord's Day holy, or Saturday. If you're away from St. Anastasia, start planning it in your calendar. I'm going to Mass on this. And you can find all the Mass times at masstimes.org. So that's very easy to schedule your Mass, your obligation. And so then say a short prayer every morning, giving thanks to God for your identity, for who you are, right? A little tabernacle, like a dwelling place for the Lord. Because it's inside here that you actually encounter the Lord. And then the last thing, something very simple, is to carry a religious artifact, a rosary or a small cross, in your bag or in your pocket to remind you that the Lord is continuing to walk with you. And this is a reminder that this is maybe my time to pray, right before I wake up, or right when I wake up, right before I go to sleep, right before I eat. Maybe actually take 15 minutes of taking a break from the children or the family and just walk outside and breathe with God. Because when you remember who you are, you remember that you belong to the Lord. You'll live with peace that Christ promises, purpose, and joy. Do not wait till the end of your life to make peace with God. Begin to fall in love with Him now, in the present moment, because that's where you'll find Him. You won't find Him in the future. You're not going to find Him in the past. We only live in the present, so you can only encounter God in the here and the now, because we don't know what tomorrow may hold. He has plans for you. He is not far away. He is in here. So this week and every week, remember who you are, because God dwells within you, and that makes all the difference.